Question 71. Determine whether or not the triangles in each pair below are congruent. Justify your conclusion. So first thing I'm looking at is letter A. We need to figure out if these two triangles are congruent. So what are the 5 congruency theorems? All right, perfect. So let's see if we can use one of them. Right now I'm seeing an angle and a bunch of sides. So to me what I'm looking at is side, angle, side. Right. And I am given that this orange side is congruent to that orange side since they're both 8. And I'm also given the 2 right angles. So I have 2 things congruent. The last thing I want to see if I can prove is the 2 bottoms of the triangle. So I'd like to prove that those 2 blue sides are congruent. So in order to find out they're congruent, I need to know they both equal 6. So I know this equals 6. So I want to see if I can figure out if this one equals 6 or not. And in order to do that, we've got to solve for it. So if we use our triangle, or our flowchart, we have a right triangle. Next question says, are we missing a side? Are we missing an angle? We're missing a side. And the next question says, do we know one side or do we know both sides? And we do know both. We've got the 8, and then we know this whole thing is 10 since it's 6 plus 4. So we're going to use Pythagorean theorem here. It's going to be x squared plus 8 squared is going to equal 10 squared. Remember, it's always equals your hypotenuse squared, and that side, the 10, is the across from the right angle, so that's my hypotenuse. So x squared plus 8 squared is 64. 10 squared is 100. Subtract the 64. And I get x squared is equal to 36. Square rooting both sides, I get x equals 6. So I do know that this blue side is 6. So I'm going to say congruent by side, angle, side. Since I've got the orange sides, the green angles, and the blue sides congruent. All right, question B. All right, so once again, I'm looking at one of my congruency theorems. I can see I have 2 angles and a side. So I'm going to try and think about what congruency theorems are 2 angles and a side. And that would be angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. So since there's 2 of them, I have to look, is the side in between the 2 angles? And we can see no, the side is outside of the 2 angles. So I've got an angle, then an angle, then a side. Angle, angle, side. So it is going to be congruent by angle, angle, side. Since I've got a pair of congruent angles here, a pair here, and a pair of sides that are congruent right there. And lastly, I just color coded it for you. So I've got green, purple, orange, angle, angle, side. Question C. All right, so for question C, I did the coloring already. So we're given that these 2 sides are congruent, and we're given that these 2 angles are congruent. Do we know anything else about the triangle? There is one thing we know. I do have reflexive property going on. So I've got that side's congruent to that side. But if we come up with a theorem, this would be angle, side, side, and we hopefully all know that there's no s in geometry. So there's no angle, side, side theorem that's going to help us out here. And once again, angle, side, side, so that's not going to work. So cannot be determined. Right. And question D. Once again, I'm going to start with my givens. Right, the first thing I'm given is the 2 orange sides. Those are congruent because they're given. And then we also know that the purple angles are congruent. So once again, I need to see if I can come up with any type of congruency theorem. I've got one side and one angle right now. I need a third thing. So I'm going to check all my sides, see if any of the sides are congruent, check all my angles, see if any of the other angles are congruent. And we do have a side that we know is congruent. So I know that that side is congruent, and that is going to be reflexive property. So I know that side's congruent to reflexive property. So I do have congruency. And it's going to be side, angle, side. So once again, side, and then the angle, and then the side happens. Side, then the angle, then the side. So side, angle, side. All right, one more page. Go ahead and flip this over so we can finish this up.